This is a backup software. You can backup from disk to disk or from disk to cloud. This is the backup process. The backup process can include compression and encryption. The compression is considered on a file-by-file basis. That's because compression can sometimes make a file larger than it originally is. So in this program, the compression will be applied only if it makes a file smaller. I have created a temporary user and a temporary bucket for this demonstration. This software will ask for the access key ID and secret access key, and the software will also ask for the bucket information. This is a debug build of the project. In the beginning, there's no data directory. Start the software by running the window backup exe file. When that exe file runs, the data directory will be created. Inside the data directory, there's an XML configuration file and a TSV file that contains the metadata for the backup. Now I'll demonstrate how to set up a backup from the disk to the cloud. Setup, cloud accounts, and you're gonna need the account information. So my software actually supports Microsoft and Google storage, but for this demonstration I'll use Amazon. So access ID is access ID. Secret key, the bucket name, and the region, and click the test button. So this only works if there's at least one object in the bucket. That's how my software knows that this information is actually correct. So you have to have at least one object in the bucket. So now that the testing is okay, give this an account name, this configuration and account name. So that's creating a cloud account. So now you can add a new backup, and I'll be backing up from the temp folder to the cloud. So source is the temp folder. You can add rules here, but I'll add rules later. The backup name, I'll just call it temp to AWS. Now I can support disk to disk backup, but I'll use the S3 account that I just created. I'll have to give the bucket name because this is actually just this account is actually just the access ID and the secret key. So I have to resupply the bucket name here. Encryption cannot be unchecked here. For cloud backup, encryption is always required. I don't have a key, so I'll just make a new one. So that's the backup. So I have one backup. I can have more. I just keep adding more backups. This checkbox means that the backup is enabled. This is useful for removable storage like USB drives. And just exit. And you have to say save and apply changes. Now I will demonstrate the backup in action. I will copy two files into the temp directory. So after a short pause, these files will be backed up to AWS. There is a short pause because when applications like Office save a document to disk, they generate multiple write events. So the software doesn't act on the very first write event, but the software instead waits for all the write events to finish. So now I'll copy a large file into this directory. So files beyond a certain size are not immediately backed up. So this is the message. The file is larger than the maximum size allowed for live backup, therefore it is not uploaded. To copy this file to AWS, you have to manually trigger a backup. So check all backups will manually force a backup. And during this time, this video file is being backed up to AWS. The size limit is 1 megabyte by default, but the size limit can be changed. The size limit can be changed in the data directory in the settings.xml file. So as you can see, the video file has been backed up to AWS. Next, I want to demonstrate setting up rules. Suppose you just want to back up the Python file, only the Python file. So now I'll delete the files and start all over again. So the files have now been deleted. Now add a rule. So over here in the list of backups, add a rule, and the rule is in this directory, and I want to accept only the .py suffix. If I have another suffix like CPP, I can add it like this. Save and apply changes. Now I'll copy the same 3 files into this directory. Okay, so as you can see, only the Python file got uploaded. If I create a subdirectory, the rule will be inherited. So once again, only the Python file is uploaded to AWS. Before I go over restore, I need to explain the files in the data directory. The setting.xml file contains encryption key, AWS access settings, the ID, the secret key, and the region. The backup settings, so the source directory, the destination name, the destination bucket, and the backup rules. You need this file for restoration because you need the encryption key, and you need this file for the AWS passwords. The other file, the fnr.tsv, is a meta file. FNR stands for file name registration. The FNR is a list of files with metadata in the third column. In the backup, file2.py is uploaded as a1000.bin. This is done to hide all information from AWS because the name of the file by itself can contain a great deal of information. This association between file2.py and a1000.bin is stored in the FNR file. It's stored in the third column. The FNR file is needed for backup, so the software knows how to map a file like file2.py to a1000.bin. The FNR file is not needed for restoration. During the restoration procedure, a new FNR file will be generated. Now I will demonstrate restoration. This is the last topic of this presentation. I will restore files into the temp2 directory. So menu, restore. You have to select archive, get file names. Get file names means this button will be enabled. So there's only 2 files. So I'm restoring into the temp2 directory, so I'll have to edit that box. The file registration information will be regenerated. So file name registration, FNR. So restore completed now. So temp2 now has the same stuff as temp1, but it's missing the video and the file 1 because those were not backed up in the first place. And this is the file name registration file. It has been regenerated. This file now refers to the temp2 directory. Before it referred to the temp directory.